So the Jazz are reportedly willing to trade Jordan Clarkson, Collin Sexton, Kelly Olynyk, and John Collins. Rival executives believe that the Utah Jazz are willing to trade these players, according to Mark Stein of the Stein Line. Clarkson signed a 2-year deal this past summer, can't be traded until January 7th. The 24-year-old Sexton has been a frequent target of trade rumors. Executive believes that Kelly Olynyk is the most likely to be traded out of the three, as he will be a free agent this summer. And the Jazz are also reportedly trying to move on from John Collins, according to Andy Larson. The 26-year-old has the lowest on-court slash off-court splits of any rotational player on the Utah Jazz, and the Utah Jazz have been frustrated with his slow uptake of learning the Jazz system on both ends of the floor, including offense and defense. He's missed his third straight game due to a non-COVID illness. He's averaging 14.5 points and 8.6 rebounds. Really, besides rebounding and some floor spacing, he hasn't provided much. I think Collin Sexton could go to a young team like the Bulls because it makes sense if they're trying to move on from Zach LaVine. He could be the Zach LaVine replacement. Now, Kelly Olynyk, I agree. I think a contending team like the Los Angeles Lakers, like the idea actually of Kelly Olynyk and Collin Sexton being packaged for Rui Hachimura and Gabe Vincent and Jackson Hayes and some second round picks, is actually a good one. And then I think Jordan Clarkson goes to a contender that's like, hey, we suck at scoring off the bench, like Boston, who's the worst, only scores 25 points per game off the bench. Philly scores 27 a night. Rockets and the Suns score 29, and so do the Cavs. So you sit there and you're like, dude, Jordan Clarkson scores 20 points himself. Okay, all those teams would literally turn around and become probably one of the best, off the bench scoring teams in the league if you're able to keep the roster together and bring in a guy like Jordan Clarkson. So I feel like the Utah Jazz are a team that people are going to be calling all the time. I don't know. What do you think? When you look at Lowry marketing, they're saying that two or three teams are going to attempt to try to pry him off of the Utah Jazz, according to Mark Stein, and then Andy Larson saying that he believes that the Jazz are going to keep him around long term. I think it's definitely interesting because I think they're just looking at this year and they're like, okay, maybe we can just say this year's a wash. Get rid of like all these extra dudes we have on the roster. We like Keontae George, we like Walker Kessler, we like Ochai Abashi, we like Simone Fontecchio. Let's move on from John Collins. That was always a reclamation project to begin with. So I think this just puts them in a situation where they're like, okay, things might have not worked out the way that we initially thought they were going to work out, but it's not the end of the world, is what I'm thinking. And I think they're just looking at, let's capitalize off of the assets we have right now, because we're bad. Let's continue being bad, and hopefully next year, even though this isn't the best draft class, hopefully next year we're a bit more of a competitive team, and that way we can, I don't know, just be in the running for things playoff wise. I think with this, they're trying to mimic the New York Knicks a few years ago before the Knicks became a playoff team. They got themselves Julius Randle, and a lot of people would have thought the same way that people look at Lowry marketing and are like, why? Why are we building around a guy who's like 27? He's not really on the same timeline as Taylor Hendricks, Ochai Abashi, Keontae George, Walker Kessler. But fast forward a few years, everyone would say now the New York Knicks are the team most likely to land a superstar because they have the draft assets, because they have the players, and B, they can trade all those things and still have enough players to have a contender where they say Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, whoever you want to put it, are good 2s and 3s to whoever they believe could be a true 1. Now, I agree with you. Lowry marketing, I don't think is a 1, so I don't think, that's why I think they want to build around Lowry, because having a guy like Lowry and hopefully Keontae George takes that step, or Taylor Hendricks or Walker Kessler or Ochai Abashi or whoever it is, and then they're able to go ahead and start enticing an actual superstar to come be Batman next to the Robin that is Lowry Markkanen and whoever else is there. And then that way they can go out and, maybe actually contend for a championship, and they have a core built together to contend sooner rather than later. That's just my thought on the whole thing, because I see the Knicks. No, I agree with that. Yeah. And that's the problem. Mhm.